Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Sumana Kutoni and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada. Government needs more time to move COVID-19 arrival testing out of the airports. R. Kelly sentenced to 30 years in prison for sex trafficking and racketeering. Ontario increases amount the landlords can increase the rent by highest level in a decade. Toronto getting $12.3 million from Ottawa to combat roots of gun violence. Canada's Transport Minister speaks out about unacceptable issues at airport following reports of luggage chaos at Pearson. Ukraine says 144 of its soldiers released in largest prisoner swap of the war to date. Canada's Foreign Minister supports Sweden and Finland's bid for NATO membership. Ontario NDP names Toronto caucus member Peter Taban as interim leader. So those were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details. Transport Minister Omar Al-Gabra said the federal government is considering the possibility of extending its suspension of random COVID-19 tests for airport arrivals because it hasn't sorted out how to move the test out of the airport. The suspension started on June 11 and is set to expire on July 1st. When it announced the suspension, the government said when testing returns, the test will no longer be done at the airport. At a news conference today at the Pearson International Airport in Mississauga, Al-Gabra didn't say whether the government will extend the pause on testing, just that it was under consideration. He added that testing is an important tool to keep tabs on the virus and any potential variant that may emerge. Through tears and anger, R. Kelly's accuser told a court today how he preyed on them and misled his fan as the fallen R&B singer listened with downcast eyes while awaiting sentencing on his federal sex trafficking conviction. A Brooklyn federal court jury last fall found Kelly guilty of racketeering and other counts last year at a trial that was seen as a signature movement in the Me Too movement. Outrage over Kelly's sexual misconduct with young women and children was fueled in a part by the widely watched docuseries Surviving R. Kelly, which gave voice to the accuser who wondered whether their stories were previously ignored because they were black women. Kelly manipulated millions of fans into believing he was someone other than the man the jury saw, other accusers said. Victim has sought to be heard and acknowledged, she said. We are no longer that preyed on individual we were once. Ontario is more than doubling the maximum rate a landlord can raise a tenant's rent next year, marking the highest rent increase guideline in the province in a decade. Today, the province announced Ontario's rent increase guideline for 2023 is 2.5%. Previously, landlords were allowed to increase the rent by 1.2% in 2022 following a rent freeze that rolled out in 2020 to help Ontarians through the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The last time Ontario's rent increase guideline reached 2.5% was in 2013. Toronto will be getting a $12 million boost to help community groups on the ground tackle the root cause of the gun violence in the city. Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino made the announcement at the Melbourne Community Centre alongside Toronto Mayor John Tory this morning. Toronto will be receiving up to $12.3 million from the federal government's $250 million Building Safer Communities Fund. The fund provides municipalities with the money which they are able to distribute to the local organization that focus on children, youth, and young adults who are involved in or at risk of joining gangs. Mendicino said the fund uses data and evidence including population and crime statistics to determine where the investment should be allocated. The federal government previously announced in March that $7.3 million from the fund would be given to the York region for the same purpose, and announcements are expected in other municipalities as well. Canada's Transport Minister is speaking about the unacceptable issues that continue to result in significant delays at Canadian Airport after the images surfaced on social media showing hundreds of pieces of luggage piled up at Pearson International Airport. The Greater Toronto Airport Authority, which operates Pearson, told that a number of issues over the past several days have led to the challenges with the baggage, including flight delays and cancellation, staff shortages, and temporary mechanical disruption with the baggage system. There have been also numerous images shared on social media showing huge piles of luggage in the baggage claim area at Pearson, which travelers have been to search through in the hopes of finding their missing bags. Pearson have been plagued for delays for months now and amid increased demand and some staffing shortages. Foreign Minister Melanie Joly says Canada will support both countries in their bid for membership in the alliance and announced a further expansion of Canada's presence in the Central and Eastern Europe. A longtime Toronto legislator has been named interim leader of Ontario's New Democrat as the official opposition party gears up for leadership contest. Peter Tabun was elected to the role by the NDP's provincial council, the party announced on Tuesday. It said more details would come later about the timeline and the rules of leadership race.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Simone Kutoni, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.